Nations Indian Reserve of Area Concern T10. And this was a First Nations Indian Reserve that was basically abandoned in 1960s. And you can see that there's a white hash shore, but there's also remnants on shore of earlier occupation in the way of glass, broken bottles and that. And you could see that this could be protected fairly easily with a boom from the side, Tombolo, which actually was created by the Midden. Used to be in Ireland. And there's the Watchman Guardian boat and the team on the shore. The penetration of oil would be fairly low in here because there's a sand interface. Definitely could have penetration if it's marine diesel, much less so than bunker. But the thing you want to avoid is having to do any cleanup in the way of water deluge or manual on the shore, because it is a cultural site. And how big this midden is, and you can see this is all shell hash, white shell hash. This is so to see right away that these are the clams. This whole area is in front of the village site is clam harvesting, and almost every one of the coves up and down here have clam gardens, which mean they have been modified to over eons to increase the clam harvesting. Closer view of the substrate on the rock platform in the upper intertidal zone. We can't see the lower intertidal zone because the tide's up. You can see that the rock platform has a fair amount of large barnacles with barnacle hash in it, which would hold oil. And then in the depressions where Jason is right now is shell hash with some sand, which would accumulate oil. And the upper intertidal and in the supertidal, there is a rock boulder cliff. And we'll go around to this little pocket beach and take another view, and that's where we're going to find a little village site, access to the village site. Still within the shoreline segment zone. In the mid-tidal zone, you could see that there's coarse sand, pebbles, and shell hash. The hash is quite ground up. The penetration of diesel oil would be fairly low. Heavy bunker would be very limited at that. And in the when you get up in the upper intertidal zone, you're going to see Salicornia or sea asparagus. And further up in the supertidal zone is where you see the white hash, shell hash from the middens and the logs. So we'll just do a little tour going up slope here. And we're just about leaving the mid-intertidal zone, now arriving to the upper tidal zone. A little bit 10 degree slope, 5 to 10 degree slope, and then went into where the logs are, that narrow band, just where you see that black line. You're now into the supertidal zone, and there's a white hash. The logs are indicated that he's still in the supertidal zone, and behind us is the heavy vegetation of the village site itself, with the building in the background. This is an area that you want to avoid and staging equipment and walking on, and that is Salicornia or sea asparagus. And this is sort of up in the supertidal zone anyways, getting up there anyways.
Yeah, but don't stage on it.
But don't stage on it. Don't walk on it. It's actually a food source. Very concerned T10 Indian Reserve. This is just taking the last stretch of that shoreline unit to show that it's quite a complex beach. In this case, we have boulders on top of sand and pebble with some hash in it. It's probably constrained underneath by bedrock. We haven't done any trenching to find out. And this is more where you could end up a little bit more collection of oil, giving that direct exposure of wind. And you could see that there's a fair amount of accumulation of large barnacles on the rocks. And when we're getting just down to probably getting into the lower intertidal here, as indicated by the ulva algae on the rock. And then we'll do a little aerial view of the whole part of this section of the beach.